Yo guys, welcome to Crypto EMC. We're going to talk about the crypto rally, bullish Bitcoin alerts, and then altcoins that have hype pumping or driving them. So if you're interested to find out a little bit more about that, you know what to do. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, share the content with a reasonable crypto trading friend, not a hype chaser, because we don't do that on this channel. And I'll get into the charts for you guys. So we've got Bitcoin going on the 4-hour. And yesterday we saw a nice rally from around 91 all the way to 95, tickling 96K. And that spirited the idea for today's video. Because we've seen this bearish narrative and Bitcoin just sitting there, as the guys would say, almost stuck in amber, while the stock markets are pushing all-time highs. Gold and silver. I mean, silver nearly doubled in value. That's a huge market cap to do just that. We saw that the CPI data came out lower than expected, which according to the figures say that inflation isn't a problem, but there's still that underlying issue that inflation is a problem. We saw that the US government, Trump, are trying to go after Jerome Powell, and he's nearly close to finishing his term. So all that uncertainty, all that chaos creates this, let's say, this mosh pit where things just doesn't make sense. There's no clear trend. There's no united force behind crypto. There's no alt season. That's what we want in the end of the day, and that's hard, and that's why we take things level by level. And in that spirit, let's go through Bitcoin level by level. Let's go through the alts level by level, and then we'll take it as it goes. Right. My friends keep telling me, find a job. That's a good one. What do they call a crypto trader in the bear market? What does a crypto trader say in the bear market? Do you want fries with that, sir? So let's go. I don't think we need to go into any higher time frames, meaning I don't want to touch the daily, the weekly, because that's said and done. The weekly has hidden bullish divergence, and the daily has a lot going for it as well from a range-bound position, because we just basically exited the daily range. Now, the 4-hour paints the picture, I think, a little bit clearer for us. Now, this was the daily chart. Let me switch it on the weekly. Let me do that real quick. This was the weekly analysis, and it's very simple. Now, I've got the Buddy Pro running on there, and Buddy Pro tells you to stay in the move for as long as it does. So let me just make it nice and big so you guys can see the text. The trend is bearish. Yes, that's okay. Bearish trend's okay. The momentum is weak bullish because we've got a continuation. We're in a continuation zone, hidden bullish divergence. What does that look like? We've got a low here. We've got a higher low here, then that low. And if we bring our friend the RSI, which is a leading indicator, not a lagging indicator, and that's what the Buddy is basically built on, what is it telling you? Hidden bullish divergence. Hidden bullish divergence is when the market gets to this point where people start saying, it's going to dump. It's going to dump. And then, yes, it broke some trend and some momentum. You know, it's easy to draw those lines using some trading view tool and say, clearly you can see the trend is broken. Yes, but the prevailing direction has not been reversed. It's a similar scenario as doing something like this. And when we were there, we had hidden bullish divergence as well. So I'm not screaming all-time highs to you guys. I'm saying relief rally. And that's all we're trying to achieve. The relief rally can look like two things. It can be a version of this, because there we had the same scenario. We didn't make a lower low, but the RSI did. It retraced. So the relief rally could be violent. It could take us to 130. Who's to say? So we take things level by level. Or it can be short-lived. One thing is for certain. Whether you're a bull or whether you're a bear, the reality is from where we are right now in Bitcoin, your expectation needs to be upwards. You want it from a bear, you want it to go up to moving to that critical sell zone, that imbalance that the market left behind when it sold off. Now, 106 yesterday for Bitcoin did tickle that. We tickled that area, but we have not accumulated, or in this instance, distributed within that range. Think of it like this. Bulls climb up the stairs. So the accumulation happens, and then people start jumping in greed as the market starts moving to the upside. So you'll find that a bullish move will have steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, it's steps. Typically, the way you would count this is you would say that this would be your first wave from an Elliott wave point of view. Then this would be your third wave, and then that will be your fifth wave, meaning that that will be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. With between 2 and 3, your strongest wave. Statistically, it can sometimes be 4 to 5. And the reason I'm not using this is because we don't have a very clean wave there. So I would rather say that that would be something like a 5 wave within that wave. Hey, there's TA. It's open to everybody's interpretation. There's no wrong answers here. The only thing is, are you making money or not? So to get to the point then, where we are right now with the way the move is happening, all of this stepping in the market needs distribution for short sellers to drive price down. Let's say you're a crazy bear. You want Bitcoin to go to 30,000, 50,000, whatever the case might be. We've got from 2023 all the way till last year, October 2025, worth of Bitcoin that has been mined, that has been purchased, that has been moved into treasury accounts, that, all the things. All of that that needs to be distributed back to the public in order to move down. Now I want to ask you, the public didn't buy any of the dips. The public's not really interested in this thing right now because they believe it's going to go down. What's the alternative? In order for the public to fail, the price needs to go up. This thing needs to look attractive. In order for this to be atop, somebody else needs to be left holding the bag, crying on the way down. So as the story typically goes, we need KOLs to sell you the dream so you can end up riding down the screen. And that has not happened just yet. We're not in that situation. Now, from the alt perspective, one could argue that that is happening, or that had or has already happened. I mean, I'm struggling with my English tenses today. But from a Bitcoin perspective, that hasn't happened. So Bitcoin will be stuck here, and it will probably drive a bullish narrative until that happens. That spirits the talk, or in fairness, the possibility for the relief rally. Relief rally targets then, guys, from 97 all the way to, say, 102 as a minimum, and then going as high as 108. That would be a realistic target. And it's all just based on the basis that we need to fill this imbalance that lives there. And around that time, we will probably, just like we did there, spend some time at the highs, grind sideways, chop around, make it hard for people to want to short this. And if it then wants to continue, that will be the move. And that's where I want to flip against the relief rally. But now I still see that there's enough liquidity entering. There's hope back entering in the market. I think fear and greed. Where is fear and greed? Peter, I just said to you before we went live, I'm not gonna bombard you with these kind of websites. And now I'm going to them. Fear and greed. Let's see. Fear and greed's at 41. Do we maybe need to refresh this from the last time we've looked at it? I don't know if it's gonna automatic. I'm just refreshing. It's 52. Okay. We're not going to have a 52 market sentiment at highs. We want to short when people believe it's going to go up. We want to be bullish when people believe it's going to keep on going down. And hey, it's turning. It's moving to the upside. This thing is trending up. Hope is entering the market. Spiriting the relief rally and just re-cementing the fact that I think later down the line, a little bit higher, or when we hit proper major resistance levels, the market will sell down. Whether it makes a lower low and trends, I don't know. I'm not going to try and predict this. All I'm saying is that's the time when we want to short this thing. Let's clean up the chart. Let's go into the smaller time frames. I fell into my own little loop-de-loop there, wanting to look at the macro. It's nice looking at the macro, though, because it gives you a good perspective. Otherwise, we tend on getting hung up on what is happening on the smaller time frames. Let's go. Let's skip the daily. The daily is range bound. That's all we need to do. This is now where the 4-hour comes in. The 4-hour has turned tide. So the trade guide is telling you that the trend analysis is now bullish. The candles have turned blue. Yesterday, support lives at 90,000, 90,500, and the momentum analysis now. Remember, there's 11 stages of momentum built into this. The momentum analysis is now saying that we're in a reliable, ongoing uptrend. It doesn't mean that it won't do this. And it's when it starts doing this, when you start seeing critical supports getting tested, that's when you want to flip to lower time frames and hunt for longs to drive into the waves. So you want to be patient with the retraces so you can get in on the next move. And where we are right now, although I'm saying bullish, the 4-hour suggests that we maybe need to just go and fill a little bit of yesterday's pump before we can move. Good morning, my friend, Mr. Was It of Alt? Yes, what a move. It has definitely been a crazy one yesterday. And that's the expectation now, guys. We want to see the market come back down a little bit and then continue to the upside. So the trend analysis, the structure analysis, everything is pointing to more upside. Let's go to the 1-hour time frame. Let's now start narrowing down the narrative, because now we have an understanding where we are within the wave, within the mega structure. It's important. We need that. Otherwise, we're going to fall victim to a pump and buy the top or short something that's maybe not necessarily ready to be shorted. Let's clean the chart. The 1-hour tells a different story. Now, this is, again, where we're at right now. Range bound, range bound, range bound. You can see how I drew that on the 4-hour and how it now makes sense on the smaller time frame. And the key here is larger time frame reversals will start giving you resistance levels, which is just another support level, but prices below this with a confirmed bearish trend. And where we're at right now, it's too soon to tell. So all we can do is the following. Switch to the RSI, use your Fib, saying, okay, that is my speed resistance fan, that one. Smack it onto, let's do this, smack it onto the chart. I'm going to bring down, I'm going to do it like that. First wave, coming back down, higher high, there we go. I'll do that again for you guys so you can follow along. First wave comes down. Once you make a higher high, then you can use this line. You can't use it there. It doesn't make sense there. Same on the RSI. First pivot, then it comes down. As soon as we start making a higher high in price, that's when you use the fan. You stay in the move for as long as price stays above that. And where we're at right now, if I were to move into smaller time frames, I could try and scalp a little bit of a range move. But the general consensus is that we need to now turn this down. Similar to what we did there, we need a little bit of a retrace. And once we have that, when we flip blue again, I'm going to be aggressively going long. Okay, Rudo, you've got the indicator. I don't have the indicator. How do I know what to do? It's simple. Bring in the RSI again. Each one of these lows, these highs, can be considered end of waves. So it makes it simple for you guys in that way. So all we need to do is just use the RSI to draw your Elliott waves. Don't use price, because it can be open to interpretation, can become really tricky if you do that. If that's the case, 1, 2, that's a 3, there's a 4, then there's still potentially going to be a 5. 5 will always be lower than 3. Why? Because you need strong bearish divergence to turn the tide. 4 will always be what? Potentially lower than 2. Because I need hidden bullish divergence to drive price back into 5. So by doing this, it paints the expectation. And then what's the rule with price? This low can't fall below that level. So now we've got a new invalidation where we can say, if Bitcoin's relief rally is going to go on, and we want to buy a dip, we can buy a dip up until we go as low as 92,300, 92,250. Fall below 92,250, we're invalidating the beginning of an impulse, because this, in the end of the day, ends up, when it's complete, being a 1 that still needs to become a 2, 3, 4, and a 5. Or, if we just zoom out a little bit, could potentially be part of this already. And that's where Elliott wave becomes extremely complicated, because now you've got counts on counts on counts. So how do we remedy that? By simply just saying, okay, I know that there's many ways to look at this, but the one thing I do know, and there's many rights and wrongs here, the one thing I do know is things that go up stay above support levels. Structures that go up don't fall below previous ranges. They don't go in that territory. That's reversal. Once we do that, as we did there, that's reversals. Then we're getting ready for reversal. We've got a range. We've got an upper end of that now clearly defined. Anything, any pullback, that's your buy. And if we fall below that, you can call it a bear, and then rally the hell, short the hell out of this thing. There you have it. Okay, let's quickly see. What are you saying there? His trifecta is falling into place. Just need a green January. Hertz's trifecta. You need to come on tomorrow and maybe explain that. Hertz trifecta. I don't know what that is. Maybe it might be a continental thing. I'm living on the wrong side of the equator. I don't know. But you need to come on. I don't know what that means. and give us some of your wizardry wisdom. You know what? When guys pick better Twitter handles than you do, it stings. Santa rally, first 5 days of green in January. All right, let's end off this Bitcoin discussion. Now that we have that idea, you have an invalidation, you have a level. Let's talk to the second part of this. So now we know that we're in a situation where relief rally needs to drive price higher. I can scale this to a 4-hour and explain that briefly to you guys as well if you want. And what I will do is I'll go to the 4-hour chart and show you what I mean by that. If we look at this entire move, or this move in its entirety, the last time we had an insane move to the downside with the pivot on the RSI is there, which means, in all fairness, for the macro move to have a point of continuation, you need to consider these pivots, and you need to consider the retrace, the correction. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm fudging it a bit there with a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as the A, B, the A, B, C correction that we need to bring price into the sell zone. And that then fits in on the higher narrative for this thing to be the A, B, with a 5-wave correction, C to the downside. It could be a running flat, meaning we do this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's so many options. I mean, the sky is the limit. So I don't want to, that's why predictions burn people, because the prediction makes sense. So we buy in on the narrative, we buy in on the bias, and then we start planning according to an outcome that potentially does not happen. And it hurts you when it goes wrong, because you hold on to it. And when you finally find out, hey, this is not going to play that way, then that's when people get up and get hurt. So we don't want to do that. We just want to take things level by level. And I've now laid out the level. 92,300, that's where you want to stay. That trend resistance, that's now support. That's where we want to sell. We're going to look for shorting over there. Now, let's move on. Let's see what else we have here on the comments. What is Wizard saying? Your bottom comment is not showing up on mine. Now it wants to show me I can't post comments. Okay, I've got that. Don't do that. Show me the latest comment. Point of 90% John Green here for the market. Now I've got a theory on that as well, and mine reads a little different, but it boils down to the same picture that Wizard is referring to, and I shared that with you guys last year when we were looking at this image. When the Fed pivots, historical data says, when the Fed pivots and the stock markets are at all-time high, you'll have 12 more months of upside. It did it in 87. I think it did it in a few years back in back earlier moves as well. That's what the data points. So although we want to say the Fed is pivoting, and then when the Fed pivots, it's because something is wrong, there's pressure. The stock market rallies to grab liquidity to sell into. The Fed pivots, there's something wrong with the economy. The stock markets rally to so that weekends can hold the top, and then the massive sell-off followed with the recession. Fed pivots, stock markets rally more, change of hands, weekends get it, the massive sell-off. That's typically the trend. But when the Fed pivots and everything is at all-time highs, which it was there, all-time highs, there's typically, statistically, a situation where the market rallies for 12 more months. So you're right in that. There's definitely some potential for that. So let's see what they do. Professor Carter, that's a really professional handle there, my friend. Hello from Washington, D.C. My friend, you're either a really early riser or you don't like sleeping much. But in the end of the day, good morning to you. And I hope you have a lovely day still ahead of you. Let's move on to the alts now. So now we need to get to the fun stuff. I want to bring up the fun stuff. In the comments, I said for this year, I want to see what I can do for the community. I decided to trade 2 copy trade accounts, one being on Bitmart, and the other will be on PrimeXBT. I like trading on PrimeXBT. Now, PrimeXBT is where I'm going to be trading Dow Jones, gold, silver, Bitcoin in for the most and so forth. So you're more than welcome to join that. The link is in the description in the co-vesting channel. So you just need to head over there. Bitmart is where I'm going to trade the degen alts, the crazy ones, the lucky ones. We want to be trading those ones. And we started the trade, or I started yesterday. So yesterday, I ended up raking in about 31.29% for the day P&L gain or account gain for that. Now, there's only 3 copiers at this stage. It's still early days, but that was basically, I don't know why that's not showing, but that was basically the move for today. We can have a look at the trades. Let's see where the trade was. I don't know why it's not showing the trades there. It did earlier. That's one of the things. We'll go to the Discord and keep it there. So there I shared the trade. The coin we were trading was ARC. We started the morning as it was breaking out. Just breaking out. I said, guys, this is the one, entry price at 0.5. And it ended up giving us an insane ride yesterday. The final figure on this one, but not copy trade, ended up making 743% on that trade. We took it from half a cent to nearly 70. I didn't quite sell the exact top. That's the crazy thing with these beautiful alts, as they would say. But they tend to do more harm than good when you time them incorrectly. And let's talk to that. So the best way that you can do this, because there's a couple of alts I want to share with you. Have a look at the 4-hour. Wait for something because of Bitcoin. Wait for something similar to Bitcoin. That just breaks out of a lateral range. Once it's above that range, take note, because now you've got a higher time frame, like a 4-hour, 5-hour weekly, pointing to momentum to the upside. You can use the buddy guide. It's simple. At that stage, the trend started turning blue. So one of your 3 trade pillars were blue. Momentum will probably have turned blue as well, and the structure would still be above the orange because that was where the support got locked in. The bears failed to drive price below that level. That's why it's a resistance. It's not a support, sorry. Bears failed to get above it, so we lost the resistance. or we've reclaimed the level. And then once that happens, look at where your RSI is already. So by that definition, the move's over. People should be giving up. The market can stay wrong. And RSI is not a top signal. Please never use it as a top signal. Look at all that move that was still there with that RSI being overbought. Take it then from that point and switch to smaller time frames. That's now you're setting your bias. Now you're getting the move, trading in harmony with the trend. Same area. Now what you want to see is the trend there, and you want to see supports being locked in. So as the range was formed, this is now zoomed into a 1 hour time frame. That same range is there. You can see that we're building in support levels. Once that is confirmed, all you need to do is just wait for the first wave to complete itself. So there will normally be 5 waves. It's never going to look as clean as the example used in the textbook. Because if they use the most horrible looking example in a textbook, you would start questioning, say, hey, what is this guy on about? So they'll always, when teaching this stuff, give you the cleanest, crispest, by the book version. And then when you go and apply this in real life, you're getting this and say, well, how do I manage that? How do I make sense out of that? That's why I built this thing, because it just helps me as well. Just stay in the move, understand, because maths is maths. The picture might look horrible, but the maths will always be the same. And that's what's running this. From that point onwards, now you have that support being locked in. All you need to do is the following. Wait for an accumulation to take effect. There's one, and there was one. Now, sadly, I was late to this. I didn't buy it there. I bought it there yesterday as it broke out of a range. And all I needed to do was to go to a 15-minute time frame. Just be patient. And wait for that specific range, that third range there at the top, for that to just happen. Now I've got the higher time frame, still saying that it's bullish. Got the lower time frame, the lower time frame supporting that by that first candle. And that's why that's what I say, or the 3-candle rule, the trade to the 3-candle rule. Once you have this breakout on that third candle, that's where you enter. That's where I entered on this one. Simple, clean, clear. I've got the higher time frame confidence. I know that there's momentum behind the move. It's already in an uptrend, so I'm not fighting something. I'm not turning, trying to wait for a coin that's been dead for weeks and try and turn it into the next big thing, with the idea that I'm the genius. I called this. I don't want to call anything. I just want to make some money. At the end of the day, then, from that point onwards, once the move is in, once the 3 time frames higher than the 15-minute all have its confluence, I can switch the indicator to trader mode. Now, the trader modes, all the trade setups I teach you guys on this channel. Strat 1, tops and bottoms. Strat 2, double tops, double bottoms, or supply and demand zone buys. Strat 3, breakouts, when we have power candles, big moves. You've all learned this, and I've taught you guys this over the Strat 4, hidden bullish divergence, looking for continuation, and then obviously the new latest one, Strat 5, being the 3-candle rule. Wait for the colors to change. And all that is in the trader section. So you just switch that on, and then you can, as the trend works, trade in harmony with the strategies. Take them in harmony as they play along. Let's take that away, make the screen a little bit bigger. And you can see all these Strat 3s. And what I did for myself, as I'm trying to scalp within the move, I just switched this to a 5-minute. Because I've got all the time frames now moved in. And now they will all marry up with each other. All the various buys. I can hit the replay button and the lines will appear, because obviously we can only populate a certain amount of lines. So now where we have is, it's still bullish big picture, but the trend is bearish. So I'm not interested in trading this, because it's telling you it's not there. Trend analysis, trade bear candles, not bull candles. Simple as that. There you have it. And to get to the point, so we had an amazing run with this yesterday. Today we have a situation where the market's probably going to cool down for some of these alts. I've got a couple of alts earmarked that I think is going to be the next ones to move. I'll share them with you guys. First one being is River. Let's quickly load that. We've got a support level that price is below. This is now on the 5-minute. If we can reject, consolidate here, turn orange, turn back blue, or break through that level again, that's going to set River up for a big move. Now, River has been doing really well. Let's go to the 4-hour time frame. You can see it's been building a range. This is a little bit of an anomaly because it was supposed to continue on there. Maybe Bitcoin had a hissy fit that day and it just messed with the trend. But from that point on, it's building a range. As soon as it breaks out, you go with the momentum. Building a range. As soon as it breaks out, you go with the momentum. This one was a little short-lived momentum, and yet again, a little hissy fit. Now what we want to do is we want to build another range. I just want to wait for that to happen within River. River has a lot more to give, just like the CRO of the ARC coin that we were looking at now. While it's in price discovery, who's to say it's going to end next week? Who's to say it's going to end tomorrow? It can probably keep on running for another week. So be patient with this one. Support lives at 22. 22 was a major resistance level, and it's rejected from it twice, and now it's above it. It will go and try and turn 22 into support. And it's when it does that where I want to look for on the 15 or the 5-minute, my next entry, that 22 level. And you can see there's a major imbalance, a little gap in the market there. So there's another nice little juicy one for you guys that can end up turning into a nice big percenter. Now, if you have a Bitmart account, you're more than welcome to join and trade on my copy trade account. The link is in the video description. Sign up. When I take that, you're in with the move already. It's as simple as that. Peter has also brought the link up now. There you have it, guys. So go and have a look at that. Link's there, and the link, you'll get it in the Discord. Okay. So there we have the report from yesterday's copy trade. And one thing I want to bring to you guys' attention, and maybe just talk through this real quick, is my own why is sometimes tough. When I trade, my personal weakness always has been abandoning winning trades too soon. I do this a lot. I get in good trades, and then I end up screwing myself out of the trades. The way that I've engineered the indicator or the Buddy Pro is to prevent me from screwing that up. Example. Let's load ARC. At this stage, if you're in a trade and all you have is this, you don't know what the future will be, and the thing goes up, that's your risk. Say that's $100 out of your account if it goes past that level. Now you're sitting with a few $100 in profit already. Now you're sitting with a nice bit of profit, and it goes all the way back down. So normally at that stage, I say, oh, I'll rather take the $300 or risk falling and losing the $100 that's still sitting somewhere there. And normally, if I don't take profit there, that's where I say, well, that's it. I can always look for another trade, which means that I end up buying there again. And then I end up taking profit there because, you don't want to lose the money again. So you're taking the whole day, you maybe take 3 trades, and then when this happens, there's no dip for you to buy. Hence the formulation of the SO3 strategy, ways that I can get in on the move. But what the indicator does is really good. If I replay for you guys, just to help you navigate this, because it's definitely a massive weakness on my end. Why is this thing now here? Oh, it's already there. So what the indicator does really good is, and I'll make this bigger for you guys so you can read. You can read it. When you have your trend, your momentum, and your structure aligned in harmony with a move, the strategy analysis tells you when to swing long. It doesn't flip on these things. It flips when all these are in alignment. And here's the thing. It understands that these alignments might go out as we go through range bounds, but it will keep you in that move for as long as the trend is the real trend, not just the trend line, the real trend, the trend, the momentum, and the structure is in harmony. And that keeps you in the move, tells you to stay patient, stay patient. So all along you're thinking, this is the top, maybe it's over. So you can see their structure analysis moves, things move around. It's saying, hey, we're chopping around. This is where I sold. Started saying, okay, now this thing is going to turn. Let's have a look. What happens there? So falling below structure. Trend turns bearish. And then what? You'll see this thing flip bearish pretty soon. And once that does, it's over. Swing short. So let's pause this right there. Would you not want to buy there and sell there? There's enough meat in that bone to get you fed. We want to buy there and we want to sell there. That's the human nature of us all, our ego studies. But in all fairness, don't do that. You want to buy there and you want to wait until that. Because around this, we could have consolidated and had more move to the upside. And now you've thrown a good position away. That's the key. Okay, that's what it does for you guys. Let's see what MV Cryptic Queen has to say. BNB, Pepe, feels like one of those coins you've noticed before. Everyone else does. Looks are solid, structure is clean, and the community is active. There's usually one that surprises people. You're definitely spot on there. I was looking at BNB yesterday. I'm saying to the guys, I think BNB has potential. I'll back it with a comment so you guys can see. BNB on a ripper, and then we discussed BNB. And the thing for me is with BNB, let's load BNB. I'm going to do it on this chart. This is the BNB where we trade BNB. The community is very strong. The pump we had yesterday was significant. And you can see on the 4 hour, it's turned bullish. So what does it need to do? It just needs to build a range. It needs to build a little bit of a base. Within that base, the lower time frames will have a time. Well, this is now 4 hours. I'll just use this one right here. The lower time frames will have an opportunity to go test their structures. I mean, there we have it. You can mark them out. There's your resistance. There's the range support. You can argue that that would be the range support there. So this was the lateral range that's been moving out. That was the deviations from the range, divergences. And what we need to do is we need to go and test that demand. So we can probably pull back 923, thereabout. And at that stage, when that happens, the override on this will probably turn orange, like it does, chop around a bit, and turn blue again. When it does, you know that you've got strong momentum. So you're not buying the bottom with this, but you're buying the confirmation. Something else does all the thinking for you. By the time that it does move, you've got a higher probability play for that. Switch that then to the lower time frames on the 15-minute, like all the others. Once you have that blue turn orange, turn blue again, it signals that the wave is done. You're ready on to the next wave. That's where you want to get in. So it's already turning orange there. So it will probably be orange, turning blue, turn orange again, because you need the higher time frame to turn blue again. Once that does, you get your entry. And we can probably see this thing. You know, we're above 90. I think 1,200, thereabout, would be a fair price for where BNB can go. I don't know. What do you think? Cryptic Queen, $1,200 seems fair. Let's see what's at $1,200. That was the last support. And this was at 1,102. There's an imbalance sitting right there. So yeah, there's a lot to be had there. Think about that. Louis Koch. Let's see. ETH Weekly, please. Looks like it's got a lot to go. Banana. Yes, bring me some banana. Let's have a look at banana. ETH Weekly does look really good. I'm staring at it the whole morning thinking, this thing just doesn't want to drop. It's just sitting there, Bitcoin's retracing. Some of the alts are retracing, and ETH is just sitting there. Let's take it through. Weekly, daily time frame. So the weekly time frame, what do we have? I mean, the bigger picture for ETH has always been, this thing is in a massive accumulation or reaccumulation. Now, accumulations form at the bottom of a range. And the general, if you glance over Wyckoff, it's going to say accumulation and then markup phase and then distribution and then markdown phase. That's how they explain it. But this being the accumulation range, this being the distribution range. And then you can go and download these images. There's a lot of these images out there. It looks like this. But what the main, now I'm clicking on the one that I wanted to lead towards. There it is. There we go. But the main thing that people forget is that there's reaccumulations and redistributions. So a larger play taking effect needs more time. And a reaccumulation up until this point, before the phase C, looks like a distribution. Will always look like a distribution. It's because the distribution fails and moves to the other side. Then that's the clue. Now we call it a reaccumulation. Richard Wyckoff in his book clearly says, don't use that term to set your bias. Trade the levels. Because in the end of the day, after it plays out, then you would know what it was. There's no way in predicting what it's going to be. We've got now Ethereum now, to get back to Ethereum. Now we've got Ethereum running here. Long range, I am saying reaccumulation, purely just because we are trending up. We're not trending down. And this reaccumulation, once we leave that range, could end up giving us a massive move or just maybe a small little pump and we test the top of the range. There's no guarantee how high it's going to go. So Ethereum big picture weekly does have a lot going for it. The fact that we're above the middle of the range, good. The fact that we are setting up a trend within range, good. And all of this points to some positivity. We have no real unfinished business on the weekly. Areas where there's a magnet that's going to try and sell it down. The only real pivots I can see on the weekly is there. If the market wants to give us an alt season, Ethereum does look poised and ready to rally for that. And this relief rally, like I explained to you in the beginning of the video, there could be two possibilities. Small little relief, we dump and we're done. Or a massive pump to trap a lot new people in because there's not enough exit liquidity around. Ethereum's a good candidate to do just that. Taking this thing to the daily time frame, or even smaller time frames, I'm gonna use this one. I'll go daily. What we have right now is this. Still range bound. That's what's got me hesitant on pressing the button. I'm staring at it. Everybody else that's looking at this chart should also be hesitant. That's why buying right now is bad, because you're buying it against the ceiling. You're buying at add resistance if you do it right now. Give it some time. Show me Ethereum that you want to do that. And then I can risk some of my hardly traded money to find out if you can give me more. 4 hour time frame, same thing. 4 hours turn blue, which suggests that it wants to do. But I've not seen a blue that doesn't come with a little bit of a shakeout. I will bet that at some stage, the upper end of this range, because we've broken out of it, needs to have some sort of a retrace. Then we need to get above that critical level and then go. That's when I will jump into the smaller time frames to try and hit that. I hope I've given you guys enough information to navigate the day, to navigate the week, get yourself through. What you can do is follow the copy trade account. I think there's 3 followers right now. I mean, it's a day old. It's nothing too crazy just yet. There's 3 copiers. Go and follow that. The handle name is just my Twitter handle, the chart artist. You can see what I do. Even if you don't want to, just go check it out and see the trades I take. We can take it from there. Alternatively, you can go to the Discord, go and find the co-vesting strategies channel, and there you can get the prime trade as well, where I'm going to be trading gold, silver, and those things. I've got a couple of charts marked out there. Falls out of the scope of today's video, but we can discuss that at a later stage. Alternatively, if you want the indicator, you know what to do. Join the private trade group. It's as simple as that. You got the indicator, and there's a bargain, a discount running it now. If you subscribe for the year, I think it's $800. Yeah, $800 hooks you up for the entire year. It ends up being $60 a month for an indicator, for all the videos, for the trade reports I do in the morning, 4 a.m., for updates I do for the guys as the trades, for everything else. So you get a lot of value, not just an indicator. So go and have a get that. Louis Kok, jy is ook 'n huister. kom laat ek jou sien hier binne die groep en dan kan jy kom saam speel. The rest of you guys, thanks so much for taking time today. I'll be seeing you on maybe tomorrow. Actually, tomorrow kind of warrants another video. Alternatively, if nothing crazy happens, I'll see you on Friday. For the rest of you guys, I'll be in the Discord trading. I'll be in the live trade room with everybody there. So if you're in the Discord, you can go and trade with me. Follow my socials. Get with the podcast we're going to be doing. We're going to have Mr. Wizard of Alt and all my other trade buddies this afternoon. Again, we're going to be talking alts, crazy alts we're trading, fart coin. There's our crime coins we're discussing and so forth. So you can get that offer. Have a lovely day. Thanks for watching. Cheers, everybody.